Oh, hey, how's it going? Let's talk for a second. So, I've come across many fighting games in my life. I've encountered the weird, the unique, the slow but methodical, the fast paced but lightning in a bottle, but I've never encountered a fighting game such as Chaos Code New Sign of Catastrophe. This fighting game is almost like an anomaly. It's something that I've seen multiple times across YouTube, sitting next to my brother on his laptop, or just talking about it with friends. I've even seen a couple of YouTube videos talking about it, but I've never actually sat down and watched it. I think the last time I ever saw footage for Chaos Code New Sign of Catastrophe was probably when Maximilian Dude was playing it because Ray looked like him, to which I have to say, kinda. White man with a beard, blonde hair, I mean, that's the closest we'll get to Max in a fighting game in some degree. But overall, the game itself looked interesting, but I never had the time or money to sit down and actually learn it, up until recently, thanks to a friend who gifted it to me on Steam when I was sitting there talking with everyone about it, like, shit, I really wish I could play this. And it was a good night to get into the game. So let's start talking about what makes Chaos Code so different. As you can see, this game looks very anime. You know, it's got air dashes, it looks like it's got gatlings, chain buttons. Everything just kind of flows into itself. But what sets it apart to me is the fact that it feels like it combines King of Fighters with Guilty Gear and BlazBlue. Let me explain. You have the revolver Gatling system from Guilty Gear and BlazBlue, where a string of inputs will lead into an outright full basic combo. 1, 2, 3, 4, if you will. But things get a little more interesting when you realize, before selecting your character and even getting to a fight, you have 4 options. These are optional moves that you can use in combat. 2 specials, 2 supers. And to me, this wasn't overwhelming, but it was definitely different. I didn't know how to feel about it at first, purely because, wait, what the hell do you mean I get options for moves? This seems a little ridiculous. It feels like 2 of these are going to be incredibly broken and the other 2 are going to be garbage and useless. That wasn't the case. Getting into it, all 4 of these moves have the utility from within the game that make it feel like it adds to the character and never just makes you feel like you wasted your time picking it. On top of that, there's also selectable dashes. If you know what a dash is in a fighting game, you've encountered ones with run dashing and step dashing. In some fighting games, certain characters are locked to specific dash types. They're permanently locked to either stepping or running. This game gives you the option between a step dash and a run dash. I've only been playing this game for a couple of days, so I can't really tell you what the difference is beside I'm stepping at you at an aggressive length and speed versus I'm running at you at an aggressive speed and pace. That's it. That's what I know about the 2. I know the 2 alter the way the super meter works, but I haven't gotten into that yet because, again, I'm still relatively new, but I'm getting used to it. I'll learn. But overall, I like that system mechanic. It's unique, it's interesting, it offers a little bit of flavor. Now, moving on to combat, well, more like moving on to it, more like moving back to combat, we now have access to something known as a role. If you've played KOF or Capcom vs. SNK, you know what a role is. Your character will pass by the opponent, I guess deactivating the collision detection on them? That's how I've always seen it. You just kind of slip by them and you keep it moving. You can end up on the other side of them, but it's never at a free cross-up or offering instant mix options. It's simply to avoid attacks that'll kill you, but sometimes you end up forgetting it's there because the brain goes, nah, I can tank this. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And of course, we have throws. Now you're probably thinking, if it combines KOF and BlazBlue and Guilty Gear, throws are simply just input forward and a heavy attack. Wrong. It's more like a Guilty Gear. More like a Guilty Gear throw, but BlazBlue... Listen, matches go by pretty fast, so bear with me on this. It's a BlazBlue throw where you have the button, but it feels like a Guilty Gear throw to me, where if you hit somebody with it, you're allowed to follow up. With a BlazBlue throw, it's very over the top and dramatic. Some aren't meant to follow up, some are. Here it feels like, yeah, you can hit somebody directly after this. It doesn't feel like anything else needs to be said. So you have the option for a BlazBlue input while getting a Guilty Gear outcome, if that makes any sense to anyone. My ramblings don't usually make sense, but I try to make the best out of it as I can. Now, let's move on to something else, the character selection, because this is something I have to talk about, because I don't think I'll ever get another chance to go, what the fuck about a character roster like this. Alright, this roster is special, to say the least. Not in the bad way, but not in the, oh, this is normal, everybody's got a specific thing to type of way. I've never encountered a roster that's made me bounce my eyes across the screen and question why everything is the way it is. I looked at the roster and slowly wanted lore implications, but then I met MG Hikaru and all my want for lore and what the hell is going on went completely out the window. MG Hikaru, for a lack of a better term, is the main character if he achieved godhood. What do I mean by that? According to a friend of mine who read this to me while I was in the lab, MG Hikaru is the result of Hikaru getting an anime girl figure he waited so long for that he stared at it long enough to attain godhood and ascend to a new plane of existence, thus creating MG Hikaru. What does the MG stand for? Multiple things, but I've stuck with Master Grade Hikaru. Why do I stick with Master Grade Hikaru? Because his level 3 is literally Godfinger from G Gundam. If you think I'm kidding, look at the footage. Now, aside from MG Hikaru having Godfinger, the rest of the roster is just a cavalcade of what the fuck sometimes. We have the Daughter of Cthulhu, who's a magical girl, which... What? I've played over 600 hours of Bloodborne, and you don't see Cthulhu in that, nor do you see a little girl who summons Yog-Sothoth, or even a fucking statue of Dagon. But for some reason, the Daughter of Cthulhu is here. You've got two twins who look like they're dancers, and their dad's a hat on the girl, and they work in tandem together as a pseudo puppet character. Alright. You have two mech maids, one of them being, you know, calm, docile, she's kinda cute. Overall, very nice girl. Then you have Celia Mark II Kai, or as I like to call her, pure violence. Because let's be real, a character like this is the embodiment of violence. When her moveset consists of a Psycho Crusher, giant tomahawks, a command grab that literally pulls, implants something in your chest, and blows you up. Free combo extender, by the way. And a big-ass beam out of the chest, I've considered this character pure violence, and nobody else can tell me otherwise. And then next we have Cerberus. He's an American. I mean, if the bullet gauge at the bottom didn't tell you that already, I don't know what else you wanted. A lot of this roster is just insanely out there designs that I like a lot and would love to see more of thrown into a fighting game, and somebody said, alright, the lore is all over the place, let's leave it at that, and let's work on the mechanics. I like that, but at the same time, I have to wonder, why? Like, I get it, sometimes it's just because why not, but at the same time, I want answers. It's just something I need sometimes. Now we can finally talk about what's probably my favorite aspect of the game, the presentation and the music, because, ooh, everything has a lovely flow to its animations. They all move into each other correctly without making me want to vomit at the sight of cutting animations, interacting correctly, and being all over the place. It all looks visually appealing. The backgrounds are lively, you get NPCs in a lower sprite quality than what you're seeing up front, moving, bouncing about, laughing, smiling, sometimes just vibing. Hell, the Shibuya stage has an entire Jumbotron doing something. I don't really pay attention to it too much, but all I know is that it does the meme where the four guys are chill and then suddenly jumping out of their seats, and I think that's a nice touch. And the music is fantastic. I love the main menu theme. If I could somehow go into the game's files and rip it just to use it, I would, but instead I'll have to fill the video with other Chaos Code music. That's just as good, because why not? It looks good. The music sounds good. The game looks good. Might as well use them in tandem with each other. Overall, it's just appealing. And hit confirms in this have a nice snap pop to them. Ain't as satisfying as Chrono Phantasma Extends, literal bone crunches, but this right here, I enjoy it a lot. Especially the slashing sound effects. Probably some of my favorite slashing hit confirms in a fighting game. It works. It's hard to explain it. Like, it sounds good and I like it a lot. And overall, it all works together in one big ass cornucopia of fighting game goodness, and I think that's the best way I can describe Chaos Code New Sonic Catastrophe. Anyways, I've been Sosuke the Wandering Gamer, and these are just my wandering thoughts. Until we cross paths again, take care and have yourselves a damn good one.